Ephesians chapter 6 opens up with a reminder to keep the Ten Commandments. It says, children, honor your mother and father, which is the fifth commandment, which is the first commandment with promise. How is it the first commandment with promise? Because going back to Deuteronomy, really even earlier than that in Exodus, you see that if we are to teach the Ten Commandments to our children, and they are to teach them to their children, to 1,000 generations, that the Heavenly Father, YAHOVAH, would extend mercy to you and your offspring. If you keep the Ten Commandments and teach them to your children, honoring your mother and father means to teach the Ten Commandments to your children, as your mother and father taught them to you. Now, if you happen to have had parents that didn't teach you the Ten Commandments, or parents that didn't keep the Ten Commandments themselves, now that you're a born-again creature whose soul has been saved by the engrafted word, you still have to endure to the end in covenant. So you stepped into the path that leads to salvation by believing on the Son, Yeshua Messiah, who is not the Father. The Son of God is Yeshua. He came in his Father's name. John 5:42, Messiah says to those who don't honor their mother and father, to those that don't keep the Ten Commandments, Yeshua Messiah says in John chapter 5 verse 42, I know you, that you don't have the love of God in you. I come in my Father's name, YAHOVAH, and you receive me not. If another come in his own name, Jesus, which is a replacement counterfeit name given to us by Rome, fulfilling prophecy not only foretold by Yeshua Messiah himself in the New Testament, but also the prophets. Jeremiah chapter 8 verse 8 talks about the lying pen of the scribes. Jeremiah chapter 23 verse 27 talks about the fact that the people of God, the children of God, would forget his name for Baal, which is exactly what this apostate Christian church age has done. They've forgotten the name of YAHOVAH. Just as it says in Romans chapter 1, that when you knew God, you glorified him not as YAHOVAH, but became vain in your imagination, and your foolish heart became darkened, worshiping the creature more than the Creator. The Creator is YAHOVAH, Abba Yah, the Father, who in Genesis chapter 1 verse 3 said, let there be light. And the firstborn of all creation, the firstborn of many sons, the light of the world, came into existence. But we do, as a whole, as a collective, as an apostate, wicked apostate Christian church, we have replaced the Father with a counterfeit version of the Son. And now the whole world, for the most part, worships Jesus as God. But who is Jesus? You know, it says in Hosea chapter 2, unfulfilled prophecy, talking about a second greater exodus, also referred to in Jeremiah 23, and really all throughout the prophets, a second greater exodus that would dwarf the exodus out of Egypt in such a way that no one would even talk about the exodus out of Egypt anymore. So it clearly hasn't happened. It says in Hosea chapter 2 that YAHOVAH is going to take the name of Baal out of our mouths, and we won't call him Baali or Baalim or Baal anymore, but we will call him Ishi. Ishi means husbandman. So this world doesn't know who the husbandman is because they bow down to a pagan winter solstice demigod named Jesus. Come out of her, my people.